What it do, bruh? Talk of the town, Nintendo, Doc Trey, still holding it down, still make the best games, and you know this, bro. It's the truth. If you don't like it, you can have that seatbelt. Alright, so just like all of you, I just checked out the Nintendo Direct. And I would say, in my opinion, that Direct was pretty mixed. Because on one hand, I thought that the first party announcements and the stuff that they showed from first party was actually, pretty good. But in terms of third party, not so much. So Nintendo started off the Nintendo Direct with the Super Mario 40th anniversary stuff, right? And as you can see, Miyamoto, he's introducing the Super Mario 40th anniversary celebration content and ideas, celebrating all of the releases of Mario games up until this time, and also showing off the art that they have of the different Mario games over the years that you can see at the Mario Brothers Museum. And actually seeing this art, it would have been cool if you were able to buy like a digitized version of this so you could like view this stuff on your TV. I think that would have been something that would have been pretty cool, but I guess that for them would defeat the purpose of going to the museum. But I think for people that aren't able to go to the museum, that would have been cool to have the option to be able to buy like a digitized version of that art. Like say they take a picture of all the art that's at the museum, and then you download it on eShop or whatever, and you're able to like view it, maybe even virtually, a virtual museum on your Switch too. I think that would have been cool. But yeah, that's just me. So Miyamoto is talking about the history of Mario and tells you about the Mario movie that's coming out. That's going to be the Mario Galaxy themed movie that comes out early next year. And also they announced the Super Mario Galaxy collection for Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2. Now we see why they waited so long to put Galaxy 2 on the Switch and the Switch 2. It's because they knew that they were going to do a Galaxy movie, and they pretty much just waited to release this title just to capitalize off the marketing and hype for this new movie. So Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 are now in a collection that's coming out for the Nintendo Switch, but also, playable on the Switch too. Now, judging from this looks like, this is a similar thing to what they did on Mario Galaxy 1 on the 3D All-Stars collection. So it's pretty much it's the same thing. So that's why when I was showing earlier, and people were saying, oh, they should just release Galaxy 2 in HD for $60. I was like, no, sir. They had Galaxy 1, Super Mario Brothers 64, and Super Mario Sunshine for $60. There's no reason for them to release Galaxy 2 by itself for $60 freaking dollars. And thankfully they didn't do that. But they have this in a collection with Super Mario Galaxy 1 physically. But digitally, you can buy them separately for, oh, well, actually, no. I'm sorry. They didn't say what the price was. Wow, I just realized that they have not said what the price is of the physical combined versions. Hopefully it's not $80 because we just found out that they will be selling these games individually on eShop for $40 a piece. I don't know. If they sell this together on physical for $80, like, people are gonna be upset, myself included, because I want this game physically. If they sell this for $80, I'm probably not gonna get the physical version. I might get the digital version, but I don't know about paying $40 for it. At least the good thing about it is that this is not announced as a limited release. So that means you don't have to run out and pay full price for this if you don't want to, because if it's not a limited release, that means that there will potentially be sales on it. So don't feel like you have to go and run out and buy this, especially if you don't agree with the price. Yeah, because, I didn't even think of that. You know what? When I was seeing this announcement, I was assuming that this was probably going to be a $60 game, but seeing as how they're charging $40 a piece for them on eShop, they might actually try to charge $80 for this game physically for the bundle, but I doubt it. Maybe they'll try to charge $70 or something and be like, oh, you get a discount if you buy two together or whatever, but I don't know. Hopefully I would hope it was $60, but $70, that's probably like my limit. But $80 for those two, yeah, Nintendo. Anyway, so moving on from that, Galaxy 2 is finally on the Nintendo Switch, and Nintendo Switch 2 are coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. They also announced they also announced Mario Tennis for the Nintendo Switch 2 from Camelot Software. It looks to me to be a lot more fun than the last Mario Tennis game that they came out with, but honestly, Mario Tennis games have never had amazing graphics, but I was kind of disappointed in the look of this game, especially like if you look at the character models, like Donkey Kong looks, for Switch 2 performance, Donkey Kong looks horrible in this game. Like, he looks terrible. So like I said, people don't really play Mario Tennis for its graphics, but I don't know. I think that a game this simple should have, with environments this small, should have incredible graphics. I don't get it. Like, a Mario Tennis game should technically be one of the best looking first party games. But then again, this is not, I don't know, but I don't know. I just saw this and I was like, wow. Like, I don't know, because I believe there's going to be like Nintendo first party games that like blow you away visually and damn near look almost like Pixar type things. But then there's always going to be games like this that just look a little bit better than Switch. And I think that's kind of disappointing. But we'll see what happens when the game actually comes out. But yeah, I was not impressed with Mario Tennis Fever at all. So another theme of this Direct that didn't really jive too well with me is there's a lot of paid DLC announced in this direct, and some of it makes sense, but the parts that didn't go well with me were when they announced paid DLC before the actual physical game came, like before the game isn't even out yet, and they announced DLC. It's like you specifically cut off content to to sell it as DLC. I don't know. I just thought that was something. So they announced a Nintendo Switch 2 edition of Super Mario Brothers Wonder, which was technically kind of leaked if you've been following leaks, because they had the voice actor for the little, like, the talking flower was leaked as recording new lines. So we kind of knew that this was coming. Now the Switch 2 edition has additional DLC, and the additional DLC looks to be more multiplayer focused. They said that there's supposed to be some more single player content, but they didn't really harp on that too much. They seem to focus more on the multiplayer content. I'm gonna wait and see what the single player content is looking like, because honestly, the multiplayer content, yeah, it looks like I wouldn't pay for it. Let's put it that way. Like, I think that this looks like something that normally Nintendo would have offered as like a free content update. Like, it doesn't look like something I would personally pay for, but we'll see what happens with the single player content that they add. But as of now, as far as the DLC, I'm not really interested in that at all. So next we have a new Yoshi game, and I'm really digging the art style on this. At least looks pretty good. The thing that was funny to me, I actually thought this was like well, I guess it technically is kind of like a Yoshi's. I thought this was like a new Yoshi's Island when they were first showing it. I guess it kind of technically is in a way. Or maybe this is kind of, yeah, this is, I guess, technically kind of like a sequel to like Yoshi Island 64 or something like that, I guess. I'm digging the art style. It's like a storybook art style. I kind of like it when they pick art styles that are timeless. So, like, for instance, you know, when you go with a realistic art style or certain kind of graphics over time, like you go to a next system or next console generation, like the graphics don't age well. But this is like the art style that they picked will always look good. Now, one thing that I did find funny about the art style is like they got a system where that can do 120 frames per second, and they boast that on other games, and then they come out with a Yoshi game that looks like it's not, but it looks like the appearance of like 11 frames per second. I thought that was funny. Especially, it's going to be really funny if they actually do have a 120 frames per second mode on this game. It's like, yeah, play your 11 frames per second game at 120 hertz. So, no, that game looked interesting to me. Only thing about the Yoshi games is that they're usually kind of too easy. Because, you know, the demographic for Yoshi games is usually aimed at the younger audience. So a lot of Yoshi games are kind of simple. But I thought the art style was good in that game. I thought it looked pretty good. So moving on. So then we get to some of the third party games that they showed. And this was like kind of what I was worried about, because these Nintendo Directs, when it comes to third party games, it like Nintendo could have a bigger game that's coming to their system from third parties, but they'll focus more on third parties that they have deals with. Like for example, um, they'll highlight third party games in their directs where they have a launch exclusive or exclusive content for this, or launching first on Switch and Switch 2 or something like that. They focus on that kind of stuff in their directs when it comes to third parties, not necessarily on what are the big games. It's like what is a big, like what do they think benefits them most. So it doesn't even matter what these games are. Like it seems like a lot of times, like oh, well we'll put this in the direct because it's going to be console exclusive for 3 months, rather than like a big AAA multiplayer title that's coming to the Switch 2, Switch or Switch 2, and they'll focus on that instead of games that like not Nintendo fans, or like they don't. It seems like when it comes to third parties, they don't really take into consideration what games that Nintendo fans from are actually interested in. They focus on the games that they have deals with, and that's, I think, a lot of times why we end up getting Nintendo Directs full of all these like farm games and all of this stuff like that you're not necessarily interested in. I don't know. Maybe these games actually sell very well, but honestly, I don't know. I don't know who's buying all of this stuff. Maybe they do sell well, and maybe that's why Nintendo's focusing on them, but I don't know. So we have the new Tamagotchi game. It's Nintendo trying to keep the Nintendo Switch alive, I guess, because this game, I'm sure this game is finished. And I'm sure it's been finished for a long time. But this game doesn't come out till next year and still doesn't have an actual release date. It just comes out next year, like early next year. So, yeah, this is them trying to keep the Nintendo Switch alive. And, there's a lot of people that don't have a Nintendo Switch 2 yet, so they gotta eat too. But yeah, it seemed like this game could have came out this year for sure. Yeah, so that comes out next spring 2020, spring 2026. So this is a game I actually expected to be shown during this direct, and we got the release date. So Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection is coming out for the Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo Switch 2. Finally got the release date. It looks like people were worried about. The digital version's coming out a lot sooner than the physical version. I think they said that the digital version comes out at the end of October, while the physical version doesn't come out. Yeah, it comes out October 30th. Physical version doesn't come out until December 12th. I guess that's not that bad. Originally we were expecting it to come out in September, so I guess that's not that big of a difference, but I still don't know if I'll be able to wait. So Final Fantasy VII Intergrade was shown during the direct. Looks great. And finally got a release date, but it's not coming out this year. That's why I hate it when they say things are coming out this winter, because this winter does not mean this year. not always. So we see this comes out January 22nd. Right. And like I said, a lot of these other third party games that they showed, I was not interested in at all. It's like, what is this? Right? Some of these games were already previously announced and just really had no interest in them. Kirby's Air Riders is getting yet another direct just because, I don't know. So they showed a new trailer for Hyrule Warriors, the Switch 2 exclusive game, and it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. We finally got a Hyrule Warriors game that launches on a Nintendo system that has a looks like a decent frame rate. Well, or at least it looked good until they showed the co-op. As soon as they showed the co-op, that's when the frame rate looked like it went back to normal. But single player, at least, the frame rate looked like it was pretty stable. It's not perfect, but it looks a lot better than the past games, that's for sure. Even though it seems like there's even more enemies and effects going on screen, but it looks good. And they announced that it does actually come out this year. A lot of people were thinking that this game would be the game that gets pushed back to next year, and they're wrong. Now, this one was actually a pretty cool announcement. And when I saw this shot, I was tripping because at first I thought that was... I saw those pirates at first. I thought that was Wind Waker HD for some reason. I was tripping. That's what happens when you're half awake. But this is one of the games, I guess, that Switch Force was saying was one of the games featuring 7. And the reason why no one guessed the 3 games is because nobody was even thinking about Dragon Quest 7 getting a remake. And honestly, this was one of the new third party announcements that I saw that actually looked pretty good to me. Like, I thought this looked kind of great, actually. Never really been into Dragon Quest like that, but I don't know. I thought this looked pretty good, especially I like the art style, and I like the backgrounds and stuff, and the game looked like it ran pretty good. Yeah, I'm kind of interested in that. That looked pretty good. So that was one of the 3 sevens, the 777 games that Switch Force was alluding to. And like I said, the reason why no one got it right is because nobody was even thinking about Dragon Quest. I didn't see anybody guess Dragon Quest 7, and it's probably because the game is old as dirt. But this is a full remake, and it looks pretty good. So now this one was the surprise of the show here, because Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack is getting Virtual Boy. And I don't know how I feel about this. As from a collector standpoint, I actually think it's pretty cool. These games weren't the best, but part of that is because of how uncomfortable it was to use the Virtual Boy. So I'm actually interested to try these games again. I actually didn't get to try that many games, but back in the day. But honestly, I've always been interested in Virtual Boy Mario Tennis for whatever reason. That's actually one game that I always kind of wanted to come to the virtual console somehow, and they figured out a way to do it. Looks like it's gonna be, I don't know. That's probably all the games that's come out, and it looks like you don't even need expansion pack for this. It looks like it's regular Switch online, and who knows how much this is gonna be though. And I have a feeling it might be somewhat expensive because they're introduced a cardboard model. So if they're introducing a cardboard model, I don't know. That means that maybe it's not going to be that cheap. But we'll see. Hopefully it's reasonably priced, considering there's not that many Virtual Boy games to even play. They announced a remake, they say. Well, I guess it is a remake. A remake of Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly for Switch 2. And this one I'm kind of mixed on because this is supposed to be like a remake, but some of it still looks kind of like, I don't know. There's something, I don't know. Maybe it's the hair. I think that's what's tripping me out. The hair, something with the hair, it just doesn't look right to me. It's weird because the rest of the game actually looks fine, but that hair was throwing me off. But yeah, that was a cool announcement. I don't know if I'm necessarily hyped for the game, but I thought that was one of the cool announcements. But yeah, like I said, the hair, the way that the hair looks all dithered and stuff, like I don't know, that's like bugging me. Hopefully they fix that before the game comes out because I didn't like how that looked. That was bugging me. All right, so one of the highlights of the show was they finally showed more footage of Metroid Prime 4. And it's funny because people were trying to say, oh, this game is in development hell and it's not going to come out this year. What are they doing? What's going on? Why are they so silent? And they show a release date trailer. Now, and also a new kind of gameplay / traversal mechanic. You now drive around in a prime cycle. Yeah, I don't know how what I think about that because I don't know. It could be cool, but it's kind of almost, I like the fact that you can at least fight people doing that. That first open world driving that they were showing at first was making me kind of nervous because honestly it didn't look that good. Like it was kind of giving me No More Heroes 3 vibes for a second there. But then they came back and showed some footage that looked good. However, I'm glad that they showed us the other footage before this because for some reason this looks visually a lot less impressive than what they showed in the past. So I'm glad we saw the other footage first because honestly, if this would have been the first footage that I ever saw of Metroid Prime 4 and they said that was running on the Switch 2, I would have been worried because it didn't it looked fun, but visually that did not look as good as the stuff that they showed before. The other stuff they showed looked phenomenal, and this was kind of like, oh, okay. Yeah. Now, they announced Donkey Kong DLC already, and I don't know. I think this is too early for this. This game just came out, and I don't know. I'm in the opinion that if DLC comes out, especially for this type of game, that it should come out sometime well after the game has come out and people have actually almost gotten close to even not forgetting about the game, but the interest in the game has slowed down. This game just came out and they announced paid DLC for it. And this is another game where the DLC announced for it, to me, at least based on what they've shown so far, looks like it's something that should have been free. Okay, because pretty much what they're showing you here is not doesn't look it's not doesn't look like it's anything. It's not any story content. It's not anything like that. Like, these just look like challenge modes, essentially. And this looks like something that should definitely be free, in my opinion. You might have a different opinion on that, but this does not look like something that I would pay for. And I guess that's actually a good thing, because that's just saving me some money, because I'm definitely not buying this. So I guess that's saying whatever. I guess Nintendo saved me some ends, because this is I'm not buying this. I mean, unless it's like dirt cheap or something, which it's not gonna be. I'm sure it's not gonna be dirt cheap. I guess maybe this is their way of making Donkey Kong an $80 or more game. And actually probably more, because I don't know, maybe this deal we'll see. DLC, we'll see. Maybe they want to make it an $80 game. Maybe the DLC is going to be $10. But I still don't think I'm going to buy it. But definitely buy the regular game. The regular game is definitely worth your money. That DLC, maybe not. But we'll see. I could be wrong. When they first showed Donkey Kong, at first I was like, oh crap, are they going to add, is this Mario Kart DLC? Nope. I know, I just think that's funny that Donkey Kong got DLC announced before Mario Kart. Like, that's interesting. But then again, Mario Kart was already an $80 game. But yeah, they need to introduce DLC for Mario Kart that is free. That's what they need to do. So they also showed a new Pokemon spinoff. Yeah, not interested. So one of the major third-party games that they actually did announce at this Direct was the new Resident Evil coming to the Switch 2. And a lot of people were thinking maybe this game wasn't going to come. But there was leaks and rumors about this game coming. And to which I say, I mean, of course it's coming, right? Capcom loves the Switch 2, obviously. And they said that it's doing way better than they thought it was going to be. Of course their new baby is going to come. Now, about this footage, though. So Capcom decided to show this game running on Switch 2. And this is definitely the Switch 2 version. And it's crazy because when they first started showing the footage, I honestly almost thought it was Resident Evil 7 at first. Because I was like, oh, this just looks kind of okay. Right? Well, turns out, no, this is the Switch 2 version running this game. And hopefully and thankfully this game doesn't come out for a while, because it didn't look terrible, but honestly it's looking rough compared to the other version that they show. I mean, I think the other trailer they're showing, it was like running on the PC or high-end PC. Yeah, this doesn't look as good as that. There's some parts that look pretty good, but there's some rough edges on this game, and hopefully the final game ends up looking better than this does. It doesn't look bad, but it looks noticeably downscaled compared to what they previously showed of the game. If you watch the original trailer for this game, you notice immediately that this game does not look like that. I mean, it's still the same game, but you notice the difference like pretty immediately. So with Switch Forces 3.7's thing, I don't know. I just had a feeling. I had a feeling in my gut that Resident Evil 7 was going to be announced for the Switch 2. And this is before the leaks and the rumors. Like, I just had a feeling that they were going to announce 7 and 8 together, and that's what they did. No price points, though, so that's interesting. So it'll be interesting to see what they're charging for this game. It looks like these are probably digital only for now, but if things go how they went with the regular Switch, with the older Resident Evils, they might actually have a bundled cartridge down the line. But even with that bundled cartridge, I think only one of those games was actually on the cart anyway, so maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe even if they bundle it, it's probably going to be a digital game key. Now, the game that they chose to close the Direct out with was actually a game that I technically kind of leaked the announcement of. If you guys remember, I found that LinkedIn page where a person was saying that they were working on a Switch 2 like tactical RPG, and based on the information provided, it seemed to be a new Fire Emblem game. I said this new Fire Emblem game is going to be announced soon, and a couple months later, here we go. So this must have been what that person was working on. Not that interested in Fire Emblem games personally, but I know a lot of people that are, so I guess that was a good first party game to close out the show with, because I know a lot of people were looking forward to a new Fire Emblem. Well, a lot of people were trying to say that it was too soon, but remember, there was all those rumors about these games, like this game potentially being done a while ago, or at least the last game was done. They were sitting on it. So that's the reason why these games can be released so close together, because the last Fire Emblem game they pretty much sat on for a long time. So, yeah, here we go. So I guess the doctor was right about actually a couple of things in this Direct. But, yeah, I thought that this Direct was kind of mixed. I'm glad that we're finally getting Galaxy 2 and a lot of these other announcements that they had regarding first party. But as far as third party, this was very disappointing. It's something I actually said. If you watch at the end of my last video, I said if we didn't see a whole bunch of third party games at this Direct, that would be the time to be maybe a little bit worried about what's going on with the Switch 2. So it looks like, at least as far as Western third-party support goes on the Nintendo Switch 2, it looks like a lot of those big games that we're expecting aren't coming until 2026. And that might possibly even include Call of Duty Black Ops 7. I still think that there's a chance that the game could still come out this year and maybe come out in December or something, or a few weeks, or a couple or two, a few weeks after the other versions launch. But the fact that it didn't even make an appearance or announcement in this Direct means that Black Ops 7 on Switch 2 might not even come out until January or February. So, I don't know. But let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Did you guys like the Direct? Or were you like me, where you were kind of mixed on it? Let me know what you guys think in the comments section.